My name is Robert Gruber.
Could you spell the last name?
Gruber.
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 And what is your birthday?
December 29th, 1930.
So your birthday is coming.
Yes.
And if so, you're going to be 90-year-old?
I'll be 90 years old.
You look terrific.
Boy, everybody tells me I look 91.
You will be 91.
No,
No.
he's going to be 90.
90. I'll be 90.
Don't add one more year to him.
Yeah, I need every one I can get.
So, where were you born?
I was born in Summers, Wisconsin.
Summers, Wisconsin?
Yes, 2 M's.
Yeah. I was there.
You were?
I did an interview in King, city of King.
Oh, I'm
In
not.
Wisconsin, it's a veterans hospital.
Oh,
I did a lot of interviews there. It's
is that
beautiful.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been gone for a long time. I still have a family there. I've got 3 sons here in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Tennessee.
Better than Wisconsin?
Well, for looks, it's much better looking. You know, the mountains and everything. I like that.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about your family when you were growing up. Your father, mother, siblings. When you were growing up.
Yeah, when I was growing up, well, we had 9 children in the family. There was 4 boys and 5 girls.
Mm-hmm.
I was the middle.
Middle. Okay. And what did your father do?
My dad worked in the factory at Simmons Bedding.
Oh, Siemens.
Simmons Bedding Company, and I worked there for about 6 months before I enlisted.
Mm-hmm. So you born in 1930, which was 1 year later after the Great Depression. And how was it like growing up in the era of Great Depression?
The Great Depression, what I remember, I don't remember going hungry, but my dad lost his job a couple times, and I remember one time he took the 4 kids, three kids at that time, I think, and they cut them off of welfare.
Oh.
For some reason, I don't know. Anyway, he took us down there and he said, "Here, you feed them." And he left us there. And they changed their mind.
Mm.
So he was pretty good about that, and he worked hard all his life. He died at 67. 67. But we got along all right.
Good. So where did you go to high school?
I went to St. Catherine's High School in Racine, Wisconsin.
Saint what?
St. Catherine's.
Catherine's.
Catherine.
High school in where?
In
Wisconsin.
Racine, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And when did you graduate? 1940?
Well, 49.
49.
No. 49, 50. 50. When did I graduate? I was just trying to think. I graduated 49. That's when I did graduate, yeah. See,
So
I don't remember too many things.
I'm getting there too.
Yeah. He'll be here before you know it.
Yep. I don't want it, but it's coming. So.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. In your high school in the St. Catherine, Did you learn anything about Korea?
Let me think.
Just be honest.
No, I didn't. I don't remember learning too much about Korea.
Did you know anything about Korea by yourself?
Well, I had a good. No, I didn't learn anything about it until later on when I was just got out of high school. My good buddy of mine, he joined the army, and he went right to Korea. Mm-hmm. He went to Korea, and he was shortly after he was missing in action.
Oh,
and that caused me to want to enlist. So I enlisted in the Air Force. Of course, I didn't want the Army, but I enlisted in the Air Force for 4 years. And then we had 4 years active and 4 years reserves.
but I thought that you were going to say that I was afraid not to going to Korea because of your friend was missing in action.
Maybe that had something to do with it. I didn't know that I was going to Korea. And I suppose you might say that I enlisted in the Air Force so I wouldn't be on the front lines in Korea where my buddy was.
Mm-hmm.
He was missing in action until I was over in Korea 1 year or 6 months, and the war ended, and he was discovered, and he was repatriated.
I see. Wow. So, after you graduated high school, what did you do?
I was trying to get into as an apprentice toolmaker.
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 Uh-huh. And did you?
I didn't get in then, but when I got out of the service, I did get in. And I think the service helped me to get in as an apprentice.
I see. So then when did you join the Air Force?
It was 49, 50, 51, 50, I believe it was 51.
51. And where did you go to get the basic training?
I went to Lackland Air Force Base.
In Texas?
Texas.
Yeah. How long?
I think basic training for the Air Force, I think was like
14?
I think it was only like 3-4 months, I think.
Yep.
I don't quite remember. After Lackland, I went into Missouri State. They sent me to school in Missouri State for administration, and that meant typing and things like that. But let's see, I had a chance to sign up for what I wanted, and I had signed up for an airline mechanic and something else. And what happened, you didn't always get what you signed up for.
Yeah, right.
Half our group, we had 70 guys in the flight in basic, and half the guys went to cook school, and I got sent to the other place, which was okay.
Yeah.
And of course then I went to New York, and I got involved with teletyping and different.
What do you mean teletyping? How?
Well, they had this secret code, like it was
Native American language.
Well, it was.
I can't remember that name. Oh my goodness.
Geez, and that's what I did overseas all the time. overseas, I was in 5th Air Force headquarters,
Yeah.
and we got, we were in communication with the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
And when they needed airline support, air support, we would get wires in, gee, I can't think of the teletype. It was like teletype crypto.
Yeah.
Crypto, yeah. And we used to hear from the front lines in crypto. We would break it down and give it to the
Code talker. Yep.
we would give it to the officers in operations, and they would do what they had to do.
So, when did you leave for Korea from the United States? From where?
Oh, I left from San Francisco. I think that's where the big bridge is. Isn't it? Yeah, we sailed on a troop ship underneath that bridge.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. We. What happened is eventually
You mean Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what happened is I was in Roslyn Air Force Base in New York, Long Island, New York, and I was transferred to Korea, but I went to California for about a month in Camp Stoneman.
Camp Stoneman.
Yeah.
And then you went to Japan, right?
Went to Japan on a ship.
When did you leave from San Francisco, remember? What year was it?
It was
1951 or 2?
no, it was 52.
Yeah.
I think December 52. And it took us a month to get there.
Yeah.
And then I went to Japan, and evidently they had my schedule. I went to Korea, but we traveled always by boat. From Japan to Korea, we went by boat. Landed in Busan.
When was it? 1952.
50, yeah. The war was not over yet. It had about 6 months to go yet.
So 1953, January.
January 53. That's got to be it.
Okay. So this is the question that you need to answer honestly. Okay.
Okay.
You didn't know anything about Korea before, and you landed in the biggest harbor in Korea, Busan.
Busan.
How was it?
Well, let me just think a minute. When we landed, we went by ship to Japan. From Japan, we were just there a short while, and then we went to Busan, Korea. By this landing craft. It was a landing craft, and from there I got on one of these little trains they have, and they took me back. They took me to Seoul.
Yep.
And I was in Seoul, stationed in Seoul, all the time I was there, but I happened to end up in Japan again, and then after the war I had a chance to go to Tiger Balm Gardens. I went there, so I did get to see some of the Far East. Yeah.
But tell me about the Korea you saw. Seoul, Busan, everything.
Well, I didn't. I saw Busan and the countryside going up there. There was a one-seater train. And I went to Daegu, and that's where 5th Air Force headquarters was. And I was stationed there. we had we took over, or the Air Force took over the University of Seoul. The Air Force took that over, and that was their headquarters, and that's where they scheduled flights and stuff to support the Army and the Marines.
Yeah.
But I didn't get. We worked 7 days a week.
But you saw some of Seoul.
Oh, I saw some, but what I remember a lot is the streets and they had streams of water running down, and they used to do their laundry there. In fact, I had my laundry done there in the creek.
So it wasn't clean even after
No,
cleansed.
no, it wasn't too clean. And but I had my laundry done there, and it was.
You didn't do your own laundry,
No,
right?
no,
So
no,
who did it for you?
The
Houseboy?
Let's see, the Koreans did. We had a houseboy, and he used to help us with whatever we needed, and he cleaned the. We lived in Quonset huts,
Yes.
and he would clean the Quonset huts, and we didn't have much time off because we were working 7 days a week during the war. This is until June 24th or when they had a settlement. But even after that, the war went on. They didn't stop fighting in the mountains for a while yet, and the war was ended. I think MacArthur was involved in that, and they met with the North Koreans on the ship in the ocean, and that's when they never had a peace offer. There never was a peace brought forward, but the war did stop eventually.
Yes. So July 27 of 1953.
53, yeah.
So you still didn't tell me about the Seoul. How was it?
Seoul?
Yeah, Seoul. How destructive was it? How was people? Just tell me honestly what you saw, what you remember about Seoul.
About Seoul, not Daegu.
No.
Seoul,
Well, you can talk about Daegu too.
Well, Daegu was, let me get this straight. I never got to Seoul during the war. We went into Daegu and we stayed there at the 5th Air Force headquarters. And then, but Daegu was not built up like a modern city. They had clay huts, a cement floor, and they used to build fires under the floor. And that's pretty much. Oh, and another thing I remember, we take the road, and they'd wash it, but you'd see things like a guy with an A-frame carrying a piano.
Carrying a piano?
Carrying a piano. Yeah, then maybe they weren't quite as big as these pianos, but it was a big piano. And you'd see a guy walking down the road with a piano on his back, on an A-frame. So that was something different. And we didn't get to see, we were busy all the time. And until the war ended, or it was a settlement, then they had to do something with the GIs, so they start setting up trips to China, different places. And but I never got to Seoul. So, Seoul had more. It was more modern than some of the rest of the country.
Got it.
But I never seen many buildings. There were some in Daegu, but not many. At least that I saw. I'll remember, I was just getting a couple of flashbacks. We had our billeting where we slept in the Quonset huts was not in the university. It was down about 2 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to walk between there and 5th Air Force headquarters. And one time I was walking and it was pitch black, and there was nobody with me. I don't know why, but there wasn't. And all of a sudden I heard this Korean yelling at me. It was the Army, you know, because they patrolled different streets and stuff. And I thought I was dead. And I yelled back, "GI, GI," you know, and he finally came up to me and took me the rest of the way. But I never went that way again unless I was with somebody.
So you were scared to death.
Oh, I was scared to death, yeah. And but the Korean people were very very nice to us. We didn't intermingle that much because you know we were at the university working with this crypto and some other short language. It was an abbreviation, and I suppose that the North Koreans couldn't understand it or something. I don't know, but we let's see. Oh, one time we used to have in Daegu, we'd have what they called bedtime Charlies.
Yep.
And they used to come in and bomb.
Yep.
And one time they had they dropped a bomb right in the compound, and it didn't go off. so that scared us a little bit. And but here's the thing: officers, they all had bunkers and underground things. The guys didn't have that. They were out under sandbags, you know, and so that was a close call too.
Batch Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your unit?
Well, it was the 5th Air Force headquarters.
Yeah, but headquarters, that's it.
Headquarters, yeah.
Yep.
They had, we didn't have an airstrip there. We were in charge of most of them, except those that came from Okinawa and Japan, I guess. They had air bases away from Daegu. It wasn't right where the city was.
Right. And you did administrative, like typing and clock. What did you do? What was your specialty?
Well, my specialty was decoding messages, crypto, and mostly crypto. And I don't know any of that stuff anymore, but anyway, it was, we had, there was, at that time there was one, if I recall, there was 5 guys in that department at the University of Daegu.
I see.
But it was different than Seoul. At least what I seen. I didn't get to go around a lot. The buildings, they had all the ox carts and all that stuff, and the buildings were mostly, as I recall, they were. I think there was clay. They had a lot of clay there, and stone, rock, and that's what the people lived in.
Mm-hmm. What was your rank at the time?
I was sergeant until I left. When I left Korea, I believe I was a staff sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
It was either there or when I got to the States, I was given that.
And as a sergeant, how much were you paid at the time?
Ooh, I don't know. But you know, I was married
You were married?
and I had a kid back in the States.
Huh.
My son was married after I was in Korea. And so I sent just about all my money to home to my wife. I kept a little bit. I didn't need it, except I got picked to go to Hong Kong.
Mm.
And
For R&R?
it was for like R&R. They'd pick 50 Army, 50 Marines, 50 Air Force, and I don't know about Navy, because we went on the USS Kearsarge, aircraft carrier, and we went to Tiger Balm Gardens, which is right on the Chinese border, and we could see where the Chinese enemy was, right across the harbor there. And but we didn't have a lot of money because we weren't expecting that to go there. We didn't need a lot of money, but you could stay in town, or you could stay on the ship. So I spent half my time on the deck of the aircraft carrier sleeping there. And what I remember about that, there was one night we were sleeping and we got woke up. There was some noise and stuff, and here there was a bunch of sailors bringing up a rickshaw.
What is rickshaw?
Bringing up the side of the ship on the steps. You know how the steps go on the side. They were bringing that up, but they were making some noise. I suppose they were drunk or something. I don't know. And I never seen that rickshaw again. I don't know what happened to it. Yeah.
And what was the most difficult thing during your service in Daegu?
Oh, in Daegu?
Or anywhere else during the service in Korea?
Well, most of my time was in Daegu. The Air Force, my job, along with in 5th Air Force headquarters, we decoded messages from the front line because they requested air support or something. And all we did in there, we break the messages down, we deliver them to the operations center, and they had a big map in there, and they would send aircraft to support the troops. I didn't get close to the front lines. I think Daegu must be at least 100 miles south of that, and it was. I volunteered. I didn't know what it was going to be like, but the fact that my best buddy was captured and he was missing in action, that's really why I signed up and went over there. I thought maybe I'd find him. We didn't know if he was alive or dead until they repatriated the GIs. I tried to get over to. They came in. I think they came in by Busan or somewhere down there, and I tried to get down there, but I couldn't get away.
When did you leave Korea?
I left in. I think it was December of '53. When did that end?
You arrived in Korea January '53.
So
it
was a 1-year service.
Okay.
I had, and I had one more year to serve in the Air Force, and that I went to Montana. And I spent it in Montana.
So have you been back to Korea since then?
No, I signed up for these trips
Revisit Korea.
My wife and I did, and that was last year. Last year I was going to go, but I got real sick and I had to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to go there because I've seen a lot of pictures, you know, and Seoul is a pretty modern city.
So what do you think about that? You saw Korea in 1950, and you saw a lot of new pictures of New Seoul, Korea. What do you think about that?
Pictures of what?
New Korea, New Seoul.
Korea is a I don't know. It's a big country now, and they're very modern. And they, from what I get out of pictures and books and stuff, that's why I thought I'd like to go because. And then I could have. They had just started giving the guys the opportunity to go back where they were
served.
Where they served, yeah. And I don't know, what I saw of North Korea was pretty darn modern.
South Korea.
South Korea, yeah, South Korea. Yeah, and I don't think North Korea is that way yet.
No.
No. And we had a lot of, after the war, we had a lot of North Koreans coming down to South Korea,
yes.
You know, sneaking in there if they could, and because there was a piece of land in between the two, and they had they had guards and stuff there, but there was a lot of empty space too.
Right. So do you know what is the rank of Korean economy in the world right now?
It seemed to me that they're ranked right up there. I don't know what. It seemed to me I read something about that.
It's the 11th largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I believe it. The Korean people are so ambitious, and they work hard to get things done. You know.
How do you know?
That's what we were told. But if we did get, I didn't see a lot of pictures during the war up there, but I'd seen some, and I know they had later buildings were built more modern, or no, I don't want to say modern, but they were big buildings, and I never was in them or anything. But I give the Korean people a lot of credit because they went ahead and didn't give up, and they just built, and they treated the South Koreans where I was at all the way down to Busan. When I come back from I had to go. Oh, I didn't tell you about this. When the war ended, I used to play baseball back in the States, and they were trying to find things that they could get the GIs to do to keep them busy, you know, especially right after the war. And so I signed up for baseball, hardball, because that's what I played in the States. And I think I would have made the team, but during practice, I dislocated my shoulder.
Oh.
And I had done that in basic too. Dislocated it. But they didn't throw me out or anything because that heals after a couple of years. So, and what else did I? Oh, I wish I had that paper here. I'll bring that in tomorrow, and I kind of give a summary of a couple of the places I went to. And I went to when I went to China, Tiger Balm Gardens, that was a very it was a upbuilt, but they're up in Tiger Balm Gardens was down here in Hong Kong, went way up here, and so when we went over there, we took a train and went up to the top and sightseed, and it was a beautiful country. I thought it was beautiful.
So, Bob,
Yeah,
this year is the 70th anniversary of the Korean War breakout.
70th.
Yeah, already 70 years. There is,
Yeah, let's see,
because it broke out in 1950.
in 50.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. But there is no peace treaty yet. We
No.
are technically at war now.
That's right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I remember when they went, the generals and the North Koreans and the South Koreans, they got aboard a ship and they went out in the ocean. That's where they negotiated. And we thought they'd be coming up with a declaration where the war was over, but they never signed a peace agreement or anything like that. And I wonder if that's why North Korea probably didn't maybe make more effort or something. I don't know.
So, what would you say to Korean people about the 70th anniversary of the Korean War?
Oh, I would.
What would you say? What is the message you want to say to the Korean people?
I would say congratulations, and you can be proud of what you've done. Especially in the bigger cities. I didn't get to see any bigger cities. Daegu was not that big, and there was mostly clay huts and what I saw anyway. But they treated us very well. It was much different for us. I never was any place where my laundry was done on the streets. There was a stream down there, and I think they were clean. Yeah, congratulations, and I hope that they can have some peace over there with this young leader that they have.
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un, yeah, because his father was in charge when I was there, yeah.
His grandfather.
Or his grandfather?
Grandfather, yeah. Kim Il-sung, yes.
Yeah, but they can be very proud of what they've done and what they've done over the years. And in 70 years, I wouldn't have recognized the place. But when I start writing this thing, all of a sudden I start getting my memory come back a little bit about certain things.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. Well, I can't right now. I will see that he gets a copy of that thing.
Yeah.
And I think I put the dates in there when I enlisted and where I went. I can't even remember what I put in there now. But it was a great experience, and I was lucky to go over there. Lucky.
Well, we thank you for your service, so that Korea now has become 11th largest economy in the world.
Yeah. Boy, if you ask me what their economy, I know they had a lot of cattle, and they had a lot of cornfields or some kind of fields.
Rice paddy.
Rice paddies, yeah. We used to see them out there. Yeah, did they have corn? They had corn too. Yeah. And down in Busan, that place was growing too. I only went through that I ended up in a hospital in Japan
Why?
with my arm,
Oh, okay. Dislocation.
and it was right as as a settlement. They were talking about settling this, and so I thought, well, I'm going to sign up for baseball. Maybe I'll get to see Japan and travel different countries, and but it didn't happen. And I ended up. They put me in. They had a lot of vac hospitals there yet. They put me in a vac. They drove me back, dislocated shoulder, and boy, that hurt. In a truck, you know, and those roads weren't very smooth, and so they shipped me to Japan to a hospital from the vac hospital by airplane, C-46 or 47, or one or the other. They had, what they had then, the C-46s or 7, they had, that's what they, if they had to ship the soldiers to Japan or someplace, they had cots that were, you know, the bottom one was probably this high, and then another one, and they got 3 or 4 of those in, and they had them stacked inside those airplanes. And that's what they took you to Japan on. Unfortunately, they didn't bring me back on one. They sent me back on a small landing craft.
Great, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story with
Yeah,
us.
I hope
and
you got some information.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I want to thank you for your service.
yeah. Well, thank you.
And that is your legacy and legacy of the Korean War.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Okay.